I'm Dr. Zaria Davis, Senior Consultant with New Direction Coaching and Consulting. I was incarcerated in 2016 and released in 2017. Since my release in 2017, I feel like I've achieved some amazing things. I've served not only as an executive director for a nonprofit organization, but I've had the opportunity to launch my own business supporting nonprofit organizations, a lot of them working with folks within the criminal legal space. And then another aspect of that is I'm currently in seminary, finishing up my master's in divinity, and really excited about my next steps with that. Being incarcerated really allowed me an opportunity to dig into who I am as a person and what my passion and what my call is in this life. I think that the experiences that I had inside allowed me to see a lot of the injustices that occurred within the system that I wasn't really knowledgeable of prior to. In my former life, I was a mental health clinician and did a lot of work in that space. And in my incarceration, I saw how prevalent mental health was. I looked at the opportunities that people had in transitioning home and just some of the challenges that people had. And I was able to take those lessons that I learned while being inside from the women that I engaged with on a daily basis and really applied it into my life moving forward. When I think about correcting the narrative, I think about how people are leaders. A lot of the people inside of our facilities and the people that are coming home are leaders. And they don't always see who they are as people because of how society has defined them. And so how this shows up in my everyday is I believe in developing people who have been impacted by the system as leaders and really opening up an opportunity for them to have a voice in things that they're passionate about, as well as just being able to know that their voice matters. For me, narrative work is so important because if we don't tell our stories, no one will ever actually know like who we are, what we've been through, and we'll constantly be dealing with the stigma that's associated with being incarcerated. For me, personally, sharing my story, I think that it may give people hope, people who have not necessarily been comfortable sharing their story or being out with their lived experience, being able to see someone who is, I hope that it can encourage or inspire or give someone hope for someone who may be feeling down because of their situation or feeling hopeless because of the various collateral consequences that exist with having a record. I'm hoping that this will just give them a glimmer of light and hope to just be able to know that there is a life beyond this, and that if they're willing to take that step to really share their story and to be vulnerable, that there can be changes. So one of the things that I learned in my journey was that reentry does not start a few weeks or a few months before you leave. It is so important that you begin your reentry journey now. I was fortunate that I had a pretrial officer who really spoke that into me from the beginning. So I went into prison knowing like things are gonna be different in my life, right? Certain opportunities are not gonna necessarily be available when I get home, but what I do inside, and then as my transition home started to occur, what I did in those spaces, it really mattered. And so I just want to encourage people, if you have opportunities to do programming, classes, things that, for you that can improve who you are, right? Just taking that time to really reflect and think about where do you want to be when you get home. The majority of us are coming home, and for those of us who aren't coming home, it's still an opportunity for you to have an impact on the people inside. I just want to be encouraging to let people know that there is life after incarceration, and there are opportunities, and there are people out here like myself that are cheering you on and here to support. I just think it's important for people to understand people who have been impacted by the criminal legal system are people. They're your neighbors, they're your, your kids' soccer friends, parents, and all these other things that we oftentimes don't think about. And so, I just want to encourage the people that are watching, if it's people that are inside or if it's people on the outside, to just take the time to get to know people as the human beings that they are.